So hey anime fan, the series name is What If Naruto Got Harem with Danny Phantom. So let's start the series. I grew up alone and unloved, a 16 pale pine green skinned young with blonde spiky hair wearing a dark shirt with a skull on the front and blue tore up pants was searching in the mirror. He had ultramarine blue eyes and had 3 stubble-like blemishes on every one of his cheeks. He was taking a gander at his appearance prior to putting on a dark calfskin coat. I endeavored to attempt to gain the appreciation of everybody, except in the end it was silly. He then, at that point, garbed a naval force blue handkerchief that has a greenish-blue fire plan on it, and attached it to the highest point of his head. In addition to the fact that I saved the town from a devil and bring back the following head of the town, yet in addition brought back the Uchiha. After all that, what do I get in return? Banishment. He then put on a dark fold-over shades to conceal his blue eyes and a couple of dark fingerless gloves. After I had to leave my home, I left my whole landmass and traveled west. At the point when I found land, I not just figured out how little my kin had some awareness of the world yet exactly the way that large the world truly was. He put on some old broken down earthy colored steel toe boots and gave himself another search in the mirror. I remained in that new world for a long time learning and seeing everything I could. I was allowed to do what I need. Anyway, I later discovered that I was gradually kicking the bucket because of specific reasons. Ultimately, my opportunity arrived up and I passed on. He left the mirror to pick a guitar. It was anything but an ordinary guitar. It had an orange skull for a body and headstock. The thing is, I didn't remain dead. XXXXX. It has been a long time since Naruto's expulsion for bringing back Sasuke, and Konoha was in horrendous state. At the point when news spread about Naruto's expulsion, all towns, including Suna, that had a settlement, coalition, or shipping lane with them severed it. With Kumo, IWA, and Kiri making a partnership, things were not looking really great for them. So when Jiraiya found a lead of somebody matching Naruto's portrayal in the West, the town non-military personnel board requested him, Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno, and Kakashi Hatake to go recover their weapon. The spot this individual was most recently seen was going to a spot called Friendship Park with a rising hero named Ash McLean. The gathering showed up at a minor stop that they refreshed and played at, not excessively well before the hero appeared and held up till the show was finished. Since not even one of them understood what sort of garments that individuals in the West wore, they wore their standard garments and headed out around evening time to not be seen. Jiraiya was one of a handful of that protected Naruto. The others were Tsunade, the Ikaraku's Irika, a couple of group heads, and the greater part of the youngster 12. Jiraiya was additionally compelled to eliminate Naruto's name from the amphibian bringing parchment. He contended against it, however gave in when he heard it was a request from the daimyo. From that point forward he has utilized his government agent organization to track down Naruto. Sasuke was in a standard Jonin uniform, which was a green vest, dim blue long-sleeved shirt and jeans, blue shoes, and his hitate on his brow. He had become significantly more pompous since the non-military personnel committee gave him anything he needed and made him a Chunin after Naruto's exiled and later on Jonin. Indeed, even with all his preparation, when he battled his sibling he actually lost. Itachi had let him know how frustrated he was in Sasuke and how he ought to have killed him that evening as opposed to allowing him to become what he was. Itachi moved away and left Sasuke there pulsated and embarrassed. Itachi's body was found 7 days after the fact with a kunai in his heart and his eyes obliterated. Sakura was currently a Chunin. She was wearing a red fight kimono. She let her pink hair develop out to arrive at the center of her back. She wore her hatayate on the highest point of her head as a hair extra. Sakura, alongside Ino and Sasuke, were important for the new kid on the block 11 that don't shield Naruto. She actually had her fangirl disposition in pursuing Sasuke. She got more grounded to make Chunin, however she just did it to attempt to dazzle Sasuke. She attempted to get Tsunade to prepare her, however Tsunade rejected on the grounds that she cared more about her looks than, at that point, being a kunoichi. Kakashi actually looked the same way he generally did and was perusing his book. He didn't safeguard Naruto yet, he additionally didn't accept Sasuke by the same token. He felt like he flopped as an instructor, yet additionally his late master too. Kakashi figured the main individual who he can make it up to now was Obito via preparing Sasuke. The gathering saw the team stacking up the portable stage. They then saw a guitarist resting up against side of the stage playing his guitar that matched what they were looking. Naruto? Jiraiya asked with vulnerability in his voice as the individual had pale pine green skin. The guitarist turned upward from his orange skull-shaped guitar and checked out at the gathering before him. Sorry you got some unacceptable person, my name's Menma, the guitarist answered. Trim the demonstration dobe, just you have that imbecilic hair and moronic bristles, Sasuke said in pompous tone. The guitarist thought down at his guitar then, at that point, played not many more harmonies. What are you doing here? I came toward the west to move away from every one of you when I was ousted, Naruto answered in an uninterested manner of speaking. Quit attempting to look cooler than Sasuke-kun, Sakura shrieked. Naruto, we come to return you to Konoha. You are not generally exiled, Kakashi said as he didn't gaze upward from his book. Unfortunately, I'm not returning, Naruto answered as he essentially disregarded the gathering. We weren't asking dobe, we're taking you back regardless of whether you like it, Sasuke said as he dynamic his Sharingan. Naruto quit playing and looked at Sasuke without flinching, or if nothing else they suspect as much since they didn't know due to his shades. The entire situation sounds like a horrible idea, Naruto said in wary tone. No kidding? What are you going to do about it, washout? Sasuke asked with a grin. Naruto then, at that point, vanished before the gathering. They began to glance around to track down him. Their consideration was brought to Sasuke as they saw him take out 2 kunais. He then wounded one into his right shoulder and one into his stomach, missing any crucial organs. Jiraiya, Kakashi, and Sakura viewed at Sasuke with wide-looked at shock articulation regarding the reason why he would do something like this to himself. However, what stunned them much more was seeing Naruto in a real sense flying out of Sasuke. Naruto flew back to where he was previously and returned to resting up against the stage. What did you do to me, dobe? Sasuke yelled as he tumbled to one knee in torment. Naruto was going to disregard the inquiry and return to playing his guitar when Jiraiya shouted out. Naruto, you're dead, aren't you? He asked in a quiet yet startled tone. Naruto gazed toward Jiraiya, then back to his guitar, while the other 3 gazed at Naruto, contemplating whether he was dead. Then how could he stand before him? Naruto, when did you pass on? Something like quite a while back, Naruto said as he played a couple of notes on his guitar. How could you sort it out? There were a couple of things, Jiraiya answered with a grimace. First was the shade of your skin being green, next was I was unable to detect any chakra from you. The following thing was the point at which you vanished in a flicker of an eye. The last and most clear was the point at which you flew out of Sasuke and had a tail where your feet ought to have been. No doubt I kicked the bucket quite a while back and presently I'm a phantom, Naruto said in a casual tone. At the point when I kicked the bucket, I figured I would join my folks, yet rather I went to a spot called the Phantom Zone. It's a world loaded up with phantom that many call home. I was frightened by truly being I ran over from the outset. Anyway, I moved past my feeling of dread toward phantoms pretty speedy since I was one. I likewise met and became companions with a couple of them. As I meandered the Phantom Zone, I ran over a specific phantom named Cole McLean. I went over her when I heard her rehearsing her tune. At first she advised me to buzz off, but I won't surrender that without any problem. At the point when I heard her play the initial time, I don't why yet I felt like something was attracting me to her. After about an extended period of hassling her, I at last separated her. We got to find out about one another, and she showed me how to play the guitar. Then she let me know her arrangements for when she escaped the Phantom Zone, since I had nothing better to choose to help her. It was likewise close to this time I asked her out on the town. We went out, lived it up, and presently we're a couple. Who might need to date a baka like you, Naruto baka? Sakura asked with a scowl. Naruto disregarded her, and she flew off the handle at this. She was going to approach him and hit him when Jiraiya halted her. Naruto, how did you pass on? Jiraiya inquired. He might have not been there for Naruto. However, on the off chance that somebody had killed him, he planned to make them endure. Chakra fatigue, I ran out of chakra, Naruto answered as he wasn't keen on this discussion. Jiraiya looked shocked while Kakashi looked befuddled. So you committed suicide preparing, realizing you won't ever get major areas of strength for as Sasuke-kun. Sakura expressed victoriously with a self-satisfied tone. Naruto didn't recognize her. Could somebody at any point let me know how long all of you been here searching for me? He requested, not checking out at any from them. Sakura was angry at how Naruto was acting towards her. She was going to shout at him when Jiraiya addressed his inquiry. We've been hanging around for a month and a half, very nearly 2 months. Why? Let me know, Sakura. Have you been drained more than expected of late? Naruto asked without checking her out. Sakura gave him a befuddled look. She has been, nevertheless she accepts this as a direct result of all the voyaging they're doing. I didn't pass on preparing, Sakura. I kicked the bucket since I thoughtlessly utilized my chakra, and there is no chakra here in the West. Since there is no chakra here, my chakra save never got topped off. As I'm certain you know, when we utilize all our chakra we kick the bucket. The 4 shinobis examined awfulness, disarray, and dread. To them chakra was all over the place, and in each residing thing. It had neither rhyme nor reason that there was no chakra in the land toward the west. What do you mean there is no chakra here, Naruto? Jiraiya asked as he attempted to get a handle on the circumstance. What I figured out living here is that nobody is familiar with the basic countries, Naruto answered as he checked Jiraiya out. I have glanced through many guides of the world and couldn't track down the basic countries on any of them, so except if you come from there, then it doesn't exist. I would need to figure the Sage of 6-Way placed a seal all in all landmass so any pariahs couldn't track down it. Likewise, he made it so chakra was exclusively on the mainland and not the world. Be that as it may, the sage was only a legend, a made-up story, Sasuke said in fomented manner of speaking, but Jiraiya was beginning to suspect something. Trust me or not, I'm simply letting you know what I know and think, Naruto answered without checking him out. Regardless of whether what you say is valid, then, at that point, how could you run out of chakra with the Kyuubi fixed in you? Asked a befuddled Kakashi. After Naruto was expelled, the non-military personnel chamber burned through no time in telling the entire town what Naruto had fixed inside him, and that he was the Kyuubi. The Kyuubi wasn't limitless chakra, you blockhead, Naruto answered in irritated tone as he checked his previous educator out. The Kyuubi needs to recharge his chakra very much like most of us. Again, this spot doesn't have chakra, so me and the Kyuubi couldn't renew it after I was recklessly utilizing it, and that is the way I passed on. With me utilizing the Kyuubi's chakra, I had the option to live here for a very long time before I utilized all mine and Kyuubi's chakra. An individual with a jonin worth of chakra could most recent a year, I think. Naruto then checks Sakura. I allow Sakura 7 days, 10 days top before she runs out. She's now giving similar indications I had when I was ceasing to exist. Increment sluggishness and perspiring, fair skin, expanded understudies, and windedness. Hearing this began to place Sakura in a frenzy. Naruto, where is the Kyuubi now? Jiraiya asked since he realized the Akatsuki were gathering the followed monsters. Don't have any idea and couldn't care less. I simply know he's not fixed in me any longer, Naruto answered as he checked Jiraiya out. He may be in the Phantom Zone. That is where I awakened, yet I didn't go searching for it. Anyway, since he was totally made from chakra, he could have returned the natural countries. Who thinks often about the Kyuubi? Sasuke said with a grin as he checked Naruto out. The dobe here is a superior weapon. With him, Konoha will be the most grounded town in the future. We should simply bring him back, put a devotion seal on him, and request him to utilize his phantom powers to kill our foes. Presently, come on, failure, we should return you once again to the town so you can begin disposing of our adversaries. Hold it, not too far off, dipstick, a voice expressed from behind the shinobis. They pivoted to see a young lady. She had snow-white skin, had long flaring blue-green hair put into a pigtail at the highest point of her head kept down. She has 2 locks of hair outlining her face, green eyes and purple lipstick. She was wearing a dark choker around her neck, a dark one-carry tank top uncovering her midsection, one long glove that covers the vast majority of her right arm, and one dark armband to her left sidearm. She likewise wears somewhat have all the earmarks of being calfskin pants with a silver belt and skull boots. I won't allow you to return my bow to that bad dump of a home. Next I want him for my huge show in Friendship Park. Who will stop us? Sasuke asked as he dynamic his Sharingan to glare and threaten her. Loosen up, Ash, I'm staying put, Naruto said as he drove himself over the stage and standing out. Something let me know that my past would find me eventually. That is the reason I made new companions and discovered a few old ones. All of a sudden 4 individuals drifted through the ground, 3 teens and 1 grown-up. The first was a teen young lady that had pale light green skin, green short hair, red eyes and purple lipstick. She was wearing a red coat with a purple scarf, dark tank top, and a green diamond ring. As she wore a red small skirt, lime green fishnet stockings, and dark high-heel boots. The second was a young kid with dark skin, short light hair and green eyes. He wore a long dim raincoat, long-sleeve white shirt and dark biker gloves. Likewise dark jeans with a green belt and dim stage boots. The third was the main grown-up. He had pale dark skin, short dark hair with little pigtail toward the back and red eyes. He wore a basic white shirt, dark cowhide coats, skin-tight dark jeans and dark boots. The latter was a young kid with pale light blue skin, short spiky red hair, had love in Kajin inked on his temple and blue-green eyes. He wore a dark cowhide coat with the sleeves cut off, long-sleeve white shirt, dark pants and a grimy sets of white sprinters. The gathering of shinobis looked shocked at the last 2, aside from Sasuke who frowned at the third one. I might want to present my new companions Kitty and Johnny, Naruto said as he motioned towards the initial two individuals. I'm certain all of you recollect these two, yet in the event you don't, they are Itachi and Gaara. I need to concede, I didn't figure I would find anybody I realized in the Phantom Zone. It's ideal to see you again, Jiraiya, Itachi said as looked towards Jiraiya. Sasuke, I see you are as yet a mistake. This caused Sasuke snarl at him. It is a disappointment of meeting every one of you once more, Gaara said with a glare. Hey now, baby pop, everything got together and we're prepared to raise a ruckus around town, Cole said as she strolled back to her visit transport. I'll be there as soon as humanly possible, Naruto answered, then checked his companions out. Do anything you desire with them, they're a piece of my past and don't have anything to do with me now. You're staying put, Sasuke yelled as he went to snatch Naruto. Anyway, he never contacted him as Itachi had his body. Simultaneously, Kitty took over Sakura, Gaara took over Kakashi, and Johnny took over Jiraiya. Try not to stress Naruto-kun, will put them on a boat making a beeline for the natural countries when they're practically out of chakra, Itachi said from Sasuke's body. Great, and ensure they have a message that says I'm dead of some kind and the Kyuubi's gone, Naruto said prior to strolling to join Ash. Itachi gave a gesture realizing Naruto wouldn't see it. The four Phantom then, at that point, began to take their head bodies toward the east shoreline of the country. The transport was nearly to Harmony Park. Ash was perched on the love seat rehearsing her tune while Naruto sat alongside with his arm around her shoulder. It nearly time to set your strategy in motion, Naruto said as he peered through the window. Yeah, Amity Park is where I will communicate in real time to the entire world, Ash said as she kept on rehearsing. When the show begins, entire world will yell my name. Naruto realized that nobody in the component countries would get the television/radio station, yet there was no way around it, so why ruin her positive state of mind? That is correct, Angel. Soon everybody will recollect your name. No! Say my name! Say my name! Ash yelled as she tumbled to her knees. Her overall transmission had quite recently been demolished by neighborhood legend Danny Ghost and his musically challenged companion Exhaust Imprudence. Exhaust had broken Ash's entrancing spell by singing her tunes seriously. Cole's blazing braid was currently put out since nobody was reciting her name. The main thing we are saying is great HHH, Danny managed to say before he got hit with an orange ectoplasmic impact. He looked and saw it was the Phantom with the orange skull guitar that terminated the impact. Sorry, Phantom Kid, yet you're not catching her in that bottle today, Naruto expressed as he got Cole wedding style and took off with her. Who was that? Danny asked as he got to his feet. None of the other musicians kept close by. So for what reason did he keep close by? Who knows, yet he saved Ash before you could suck into the Fenton canteen, Exhaust answered. We never ran into him, so who can say for sure why he saved Cole? We'll stress over them later, Danny said in a depleted tone. You proceed to track down Sam and both of you head home. I will clear Mai for some time. Danny was all the while feeling the aggravation of having his heart broken by seeing Sam Kiss run. Despite the fact that he was under Cole's adoration spell, somewhere inside his heart he generally had an adoration for Sam of some kind or another. Ash's explain just brought it, and made it more grounded, regardless of whether the kiss was simply to break the spell. It actually hurt him to see it. Is it true that you are certain? I mean, me and Sam can dash. No Exhaust, I need to be separated from everyone else, Danny hinted prior to taking off. With Naruto and Ember, Naruto was all the while conveying Ash as he was going to forsake house on the edges of Friendship Park. It's all that dipstick issue, Cole said with outrage as she was being conveyed by Naruto. Ash was not some delicate, feeble young lady that expected to conveyed and safeguarded, yet she appreciated it when her beaus spoiled he like this. He wrecked everything, him and his companions. Basically, you didn't get sucked up into that bottle like the other, Naruto told her with a little grin before it transformed into a glare. On the off chance that I didn't send Johnny and the others to dispose of my concern, then they would have had the option to assist us with taking on the apparition kid and his companions. Try not to do that to yourself, Ash said. She realized that he liked to put all the fault on himself. Even now he actually faults himself for some things that happened when he was alive. You have zero control over everything and you know it. I know, simply disdain that your arrangements fizzled on the grounds that I had Johnny and the others take them so they could return to the natural country, Naruto said with a scowl. Likewise, I'm becoming ill that we are pursued regardless of where we go. In the Phantom Zone we are pursued by Walker and Skulker. Presently we are pursued by the apparition kid in this world. Try not to consider it, you become a bummer when you center around things like that. As they got to the house, Naruto laid Ash on the bed and afterward went to the rooftop to check the moon out. Indeed, even now I can't get away from them, Naruto thought as he gazed at the moon. Regardless of where I go, I am apparently pursued by somebody. The natural country, the Phantom Zone, even here I'm pursued by the apparition kid. I simply need where I can reside in harmony. I can help you, my fallen kid, a voice addressed Naruto. Who's there? Show yourself, Naruto said as he searched for the wellspring of the voice. Be quiet, my kid, I have nothing but good intentions, the voice said in a warm tone. You are simply hearing me, I have no body right now. Who are you? Naruto asked as he glanced around. You were the rebirth of my grandson Azura Otsutsuki, and assuming that you assist me, I with willing assistance you actually didn't respond to my inquiry. Who are you? I'm the person who was known as Bunny Goddess, Kagaya Otsutsuki. After a month with the Konoha shinobis, Jiraiya and the remainder of the group successfully returned to Konoha. When their boat came to the natural countries, they were all wasting away. Sakura was the most horrendously terrible. It was obscure the way that she made do. However, she would have been dead notwithstanding Jiraiya assisting her when they recovered with controlling of their bodies. Jiraiya found a note in his pocket from Itachi letting him know the following: they came after Naruto, they would kick the bucket. Jiraiya hushed up about the note, since everybody was at that point in a mindset of some kind or another. They planned to make their report to the Hokage and the committee, not even one of them were anticipating it. Jiraiya was discouraged that Naruto was dead and presently a phantom. Kakashi was in a self-hatred state, part for figuring out Naruto was dead, however the other part was on the grounds that Gaara had the option to take over his body with such ease. Sasuke was incensed over not just seeing his sibling once more and Naruto perhaps being more grounded than him. Yet additionally he was returning with nothing and the mission would be marked as a disappointment. Sakura was the most terrible one of all. Her head was a hurricane of feelings. She was discouraged in light of the fact that it wasn't her, Sasuke, that helped her, and couldn't have cared less on the off chance that she lived or not. Stunned that she nearly kicked the bucket due to chakra depletion, self-hatred over not have the option to do anything and for being so feeble. At last a tiny piece of her was miserable that Naruto was dead, presently was on the grounds that she really focused on him, or that she lost her punching pack/lapdog is obscure. Chamber room. The group came to the Hokage pinnacle and were sent squarely into the chamber space for a gathering. The group remained before the regular citizen gathering, Shinobi Committee, Hokage consultants, and Tsunade the Hokage. They took a gander at the group and immediately seen something was absent. Jiraiya were in the Jinchuriki? Danzo inquired. Danzo was one of the three guides. He was a delicate-looking elderly person that was enveloped by swathes, but he was everything except fragile. Well, this is what happened, Jiraiya said with a moan as he let them know what occurred. As they generally heard what happened, they all developed looks of shock, repulsiveness, disarray, misery, or mistrust. At the point when we came to, we were on a boat and all practically out of chakra. So we thought it was ideal, assuming we return home before we kicked the bucket. Jiraiya lied toward the finish of the report. Truth was Sasuke needed to return to get Naruto. Anyway, Jiraiya adjusted his perspective by taking steps to remove what made him a man. So the Jinchuriki is dead and the Kyuubi's area is obscure, Danzo said in a troubling tone. Basically, the devil is dead, a regular citizen said. This got look of fury from Tsunade, Jiraiya, and a couple of tribe heads. Tsunade anyway had enough of this. This town had not just taken her younger sibling and sweetheart lives, yet presently her child/grandson figure from her. As the boards contended around her, she did the main thing she could. You realize what? I'm finished with this, Tsunade said as she stood up. It was clearly sufficient to make everybody quit contending and check her in disarray out. I'm finished with this town and its kin. This town has taken such a huge amount from me, and I'm finished with it. It took my granddad, distant uncle, my folks, my younger sibling, the individual I cherished, and presently at the individual who I saw as a child. She then, at that point, checked Danzo. I know the amount you figured. You ought to have been Hokage rather than my teacher out. Well, here's your opportunity to demonstrate. They pursued some unacceptable decision. As the fifth Hokage, I thus stepped down as Hokage and named Danzo as the sixth Hokage. This stunned everybody in the room. Tsunade, what you thinking? Jiraiya asked, considering what was the deal with her. Additionally, I won't leave this town and ever return, Tsunade added before she began to stroll towards the entryway. Tsunade, as the new Hokage, it is my obligation to let you that know if you leave the town you will lose your Sannin travel privileges. Danzo expressed wanting to prevent Tsunade from leaving. You will be pronounced a missing nin and I will send ANBUs to catch or kill you. Go on, right now I don't mind any longer, Tsunade said without checking him out. Then, at that point, hand over the slug agreement, since it property of Konoha. Danzo requested in anticipation of providing for one of his root specialists. Tsunade turned and sneered at Danzo. The slugs are aligned with Konoha on the grounds that I and pass holder were. They don't have a place with Konoha. Anyway, I will call Katsuyu to check whether she actually needs the slugs aligned with Konoha. In the event that she does, I will surrender the agreement. With that, Tsunade left, leaving a shocked chamber, blissful Danzo, and an extremely befuddled Jiraiya. Tsunade, what are you thinking? Jiraiya thought prior to going to follow her. With Naruto, while Jiraiya and the others were answering to the committee, Johnny and the other made back to Harmony Park. As they were taking, the Konoha shinobi has returned toward the east coast to send them back to the essential countries. They saw that Ash's arrangement bombed thanks to the Phantom Kid. They knew where they would go, yet what they didn't expect was to track down Naruto and Ash contending when they arrived. What do you mean you need to return there? Ash asked as she scowled at Naruto. I previously told you, I really want to help her, so we will have where we can remain in harmony, Naruto answered as he scoured his sanctuaries. What's happening here? Johnny asked as they generally strolled into the room. Dipstick here says he's returning to the essential countries, Ash answered as she went to the gathering. I told you, I want to go to the Phantom Zone first, then I would head there. Naruto expressed, attempting to quiet Cole down. What welcomed this on Naruto-kun? Itachi inquired. Itachi realized he must have had some kind of motivation to return. He loathed in any event, discussing his past, so there should be a significant justification for him to return. Naruto moaned and began to let the gathering know who he met, what she needed, and how she planned to help him. As he recounted to them the story, he pondered his meeting with Kagaya Otsutsuki. Flashback. Kagaya Otsutsuki. I recollect elderly person sage referencing that name, Naruto said as he attempted to recall everything he said to him. Elderly person sage? A confounded Kagaya inquired. No doubt the sage of 6 ways, Naruto answered. He came to converse with me just after I kicked the bucket. He needed to restore me. Anyway, he would possibly revive me in the event that I returned to the essential countries to finish my obligations as the offspring of prescience. He enlightened me regarding the Jubi and how he fixed it away, likewise something about his children, yet I wasn't actually tuning in. After he said that he would possibly resurrect me assuming I got back to the natural countries, I began to block him out. I let him know I wasn't returning there. He said he was frustrated and harmony could never come. I was his mom and the one he and his sibling fixed. I ate the product of the God Tree and later joined with the God Tree to make the 10 tails. They fixed me, prevent me from making a multitude of white setsu that I was making for planning Otsutsuki relatives that were coming to take my chakra for themselves. Stand by on the off chance that you're fixed. How might you converse with me or help me? I can speak with you for a similar explanation, my child could. You were the resurrection of Azura Otsutsuki regardless of whether you have passed on. Concerning how I can help, you look for where your sword can reside in harmony, yes? To which Naruto gestured and answered with a yes. The gathering you know as the Akatsuki are attempting to restore the 10 tails, which will free me too. There is a dark setsu that was made out of my will. When the 10 tails is fixed in somebody, dark setsu will then consume them and restore me. At the point when I return, I will case everybody in the natural countries and transform them into white setsu. Then I will make the entire basic countries a protected zone for your sword to live in harmony. For what reason are you do this? Asked a suspicious Naruto. I recollect elderly person sage saying you needed to carry harmony to the world before you went off the deep end with power. That was valid, Kagaya answered in a miserable tone. Anyway, while I was fixed I got to see the entire world. I understood that I can't carry harmony to this world. My children were both right and silly for fixing the natural countries off from the rest. Right, since it safeguarded them from the weapons and detestations of the rest of the world. Anyway, it was additionally silly on the grounds that individuals never developed, and they years behind the remainder of the world. I planned to attempt to assume control over the whole world when I was free, yet I have been watching you. I saw your life when you left the basic countries, as well as after you pass on and became what you are presently. You helped me such a huge amount to remember my child Hagoromo. Notwithstanding me attempting to take my children chakra, I actually cherished them. I can't change what did previously, yet I need to help you who helps me to remember my child and the rebirth of my grandson. Naruto remained there thinking. He truly didn't have the foggiest idea what to say. Somebody what to help him, and he needed her assistance. However, he didn't know whether he could trust her. What do I need to do so you can help me? Naruto asked in a questionable voice. He needed to believe her, yet such countless individuals he confided in betrayed him. The Akatsuki are struggling with finding the Kyuubi's chakra, Kagaya said in a serious tone. I can't find it insofar as I'm fixed. I sense the spirit of the Kyuubi is someplace in the spot you call the apparition zone. In the event that you go there and find the spirit, it can perceive you where its chakra and you can tell the Akatsuki or Dark Zetsu where it is. So I need to find the spirit and afterward the chakra, Naruto shared with himself. For what reason did the spirit go to the Phantom Zone and not with the chakra? I think it was a direct result of the seal that was utilized to seal the QB in you. At the point when you kicked the bucket and your spirit went to the apparition zone, it accepted the QB's spirit too. So assuming I do this, you will stay true to your promise that you will transform the essential countries into a protected zone for phantoms? Indeed, however they should observe my regulations or, more than likely I will exile them and work everything out such that they can stay away forever. So you will be the pioneer/divine force of this spot and we adhere to your regulations? Indeed, however much I need to assist you I with willing not be peered somewhere around more fragile creatures. Naruto wasn't excessively certain about this, however much he needed a protected zone for himself and Cole. Could she truly make a protected zone for phantoms? Could she go off the deep end with power once more and attempt to dispose of them? Might it be said that he was ready to face the challenge? Okay, I help you in depending on you to stay faithful to your commitments, Naruto said in a decided voice. I will. You ought to in any case have some kind of association with the spirit thanks to the seal. I want to help you more. However, assist with liberating me and I will give you and your thoughtful a spot to live in harmony. End flashback. So you will help the gathering that killed me? Gaara asked, who was a piece befuddled and harmed. On the off chance that it implies having where we will not get pursued by somebody, then, at that point, yes I will, Naruto answered. What might we do for Naruto-kun? Itachi inquired. At the present time I really want to go get the QB's spirit, Naruto answered. It's someplace in the Phantom Zone and as per Kagaya I ought to have the option to find it because of the seal. It would a major assistance on the off chance that you could ensure we don't lose this spot. I disdain searching for a spot to remain in this world. Not an issue, Naruto-kun. I'll fend individuals off so you have spot to return as well, Itachi said happily. How can you go to track down the spirit? The apparition zone is enormous and there are many entryways, and a lead to phantom individual domains, Kitty inquired. Kagaya said I ought to have the option to detect the spirit some way or another, Naruto answered. I simply trust it's not in some apparition individual domain. Well, I going to ensure don't go get secured by Walker or annihilated by somebody, Ash said. She knew whether she let him go without anyone else he would cause problems. I'm going with you too, Gaara said. He wasn't energetic about aiding the Akatsuki, however he would help his companion/sibling. Naruto, realizing that these two wouldn't adjust their perspectives, gestured at them in understanding prior to going to Itachi. When we know where the chakra is, I will require your assistance getting it for the Akatsuki or illuminating them where it is. Itachi gestured in understanding, however could have done without the thought returning to them. Naruto then, at that point, went to Johnny and Kitty. Listen, I don't have the foggiest idea what amount of time this will require. Why not to go have a great time in this world? Likewise, I need to express upset for managing something my concern. Try not to stress over it. We're companions, all things considered, Johnny said cheerfully. Other than they merited most terrible than what they got. We were eager to assist out a companion, Kitty said happily. Simply try to bring us along when they get what's coming to them. I will and much appreciated, Naruto answered to them before they left. Okay, Itachi, care for this spot while we're gone, Naruto shared with Itachi prior to going to Gaara and Ash. Come on, both of you. We know where we are going and I believe it will require an investment to find what we are searching for. Tsunade, if you don't mind, kindly pause and contemplate what you're doing? Jiraiya argued as he followed Tsunade, Shizen, and Tantan as they set out toward the town entryway. I'm annoyed with what befall Naruto also, yet the town needs you as the Hokage and not Danzo. Enough, Jiraiya! I made my Dekaisen, Tsunade answered angrily. I'm leaving this town, and this time I'm rarely returning. Over the most recent 24-hour word has spread about Tsunade leaving and naming Danzo the sixth Hokage. This put everybody in a condition of dread since they were losing one of their most grounded kunoichi in their period of scarcity. Word likewise spread about Naruto's passing, to which there were blended response. Some were cheerful the devil was dead, some were vexed on the grounds that he was the main thing that would have stopped a portion of the towns and make Konoha incredible once more. Lastly, there were the individuals who were miserable in light of the fact that they really thought often about him. Every one of the youngsters were miserable when they heard the news, yet ones who took it the hardest were Ino and Hinata. Ino on the grounds that she planned to utilize him to persuade the other to be companions with her again, since they believed nothing should do with her, and Hinata on the grounds that she adored him. As the three got to the entryway, they saw Danzo remaining there with a portion of his root and Bus sitting tight for them. While he wasn't officially the Hokage yet, he realized that the daimyo would concur and name him the Rokudaime Hokage. Tsunade, are you prepared to give up the slug contract? Danzo asked in decent and self-satisfied tone. All of a sudden 2 enormous puffs of smoke showed up behind Jiraiya and Tsunade, Gamabunta and Katsuyu. I'm anxious about the possibility that won't occur, Danzo, Katsuyu answered. We of the slug contract actually consider Tsunade to be our solitary summoner. Moreover, the slug contract isn't property of Konoha, rather we have a partnership and dependability to Konoha. Anyway, in the wake of hearing that a shinobi of this town endeavored to hijack the soul of somebody who was illegitimately ousted and kicked the bucket, we can't and won't keep the union or reliability. As of this day, the slugs are not lined up with Konoha and won't help them. You can't do this! That agreement is property of Konoha! An irate Danzo yelled. That is not all. We of the amphibian agreement cut off out collusion in dedication to Konoha. Also subsequent to hearing this, Gamabunta said prior to checking Jiraiya out. Jiraiya, we chose to keep you as our summoner, yet let me get straight to the point that you will be the last Konoha shinobi to be our summoner. You are still in a dangerous situation with us for eliminating Naruto name from the parchment. Commit another error, and you will at this point not our summoner. We will help you in the event that you are gone after. However, attempt to bring us to help Konoha, and we will eliminate your name too. This is ridiculous! An incensed Danzo yelled. We really want the 2 agreements for the impending conflict. How are we going to shield ourselves? You ought to have thought about that before you ousted Naruto Uzumaki, Katsuyu answered before she and Gamabunta returned to their Bring domain. Tsunade and Shizen, who was conveying Tauntaun, strolled past Danzo without saying a word. Danzo followed them with his eye, however said nothing or attempted to stop them. He was at that point anticipating sending a portion of his route after them once they got far enough from the town. He then noticed Jiraiya was all the while following them. Where are you going, Jiraiya? Danzo asked in a quiet voice. I will make an effort not to leave. Jiraiya lied as he quit strolling and glared behind him at him. Great, perhaps you can talk some sense into her, Danzo said, not trusting the falsehood. Anyway, on the off chance that you're not back by sunset, then you also will be proclaimed as a missing nin too. Jiraiya gestured and continued to stroll to find Tsunade. Danzo began to stroll back to the Hokage pinnacle while thinking about his best course of action. This simply makes more issues. Danzo fume as attempts to concoct another arrangement. Presently do we not have Tsunade and neither the frogs or slugs to help us in the upcoming battle, and perhaps not Jiraiya also. Not just that now I need to attempt to keep Sasuke in charge, on account of that damn gathering ruining him it will be more diligently to get him under my influence. Danzo shook his head to clean up the contemplations prior to gazing toward the Hokage landmark. Damn you, Hiruzen, if by some stroke of good luck you paid attention to me, then we wouldn't be in this wreck. With Jiraiya and Tsunade, when they got a decent separation from the door, Tsunade posed the inquiry that was at the forefront of her thoughts. For what reason would you say you are following us, Jiraiya? What might I at any point go for a stroll with a close buddy? Jiraiya asked with a smile. Just to be welcomed with empty gazes from both Tsunade and Shizen. Look, I need to assist you with getting to any place you're going. I wish you would remain in Konoha, however I can witness that is not going to. We both realize Danzo will undoubtedly send a portion of his root individuals after you. I can take care of myself, Jiraiya. I needn't bother with you to safeguard me. Tsunade answered, disturbed. I simply need to help him, Jiraiya argued. You truly need to help? Tsunade asked with a cocked eyebrow. Jiraiya gestured and afterward she pivoted to look at him straight without flinching. If you truly have any desire to help, then, at that point, take me to where Naruto is. After a month with Naruto, Ash, and Gaara have going through the Phantom Zone searching for the Kyuubi's spirit. They had a couple of experiences with Walker and the Phantom Kid, yet what irritated them very was the number of times they ran into Skulker. He would make an appearance to attempt to persuade Ash to be his sweetheart, attempt to kill Naruto, he lose, and afterward they return to follow Naruto. Are you certain you are follow the Kyuubi and not recently lost? Cole asked her sweetheart with a lifeless gaze. Indeed I'm certain, a drained Naruto answered. He was at that point lamenting consenting to help Kaguya. It's not my issue that at whatever point we draw near it begins moving. How are you certain that it's the Kyuubi that we are following? Gaara inquired. I can't actually make sense of it, Naruto answered as he admired naturally suspect. At the point when I channel energy to where my seal was, I begin to get this abnormal inclination. It's an odd yet practically recognizable inclination, and the eye get this unusual gravitational force, similar to a string or rope is pulling me. It's conceivable that when you do this, the Kyuubi's spirit feels exactly the same thing? Gaara asked as he attempted to envision what his sibling is feeling. It's conceivable. I mean, Kaguya said that both of us actually have a bond thanks to the seal, Naruto answered. So it runs each time we draw near to it, Cole said as she thoroughly considered this new data. So it likewise could realize that. Would you say you is following it right? Maybe, maybe not, Naruto answered as he attempted to figure out everything. It could know it's me, yet perhaps it doesn't and thinks it's some irregular apparition or something to that effect. We're near it again, which implies it could run once more. Then, at that point, how about we rush and catch it before it runs off? Ash said with an irritated tone. I'm becoming ill of pursuing this thing generally around the apparition zone. Naruto and Gaara gestured in understanding as they generally hurried up to get the spirit before it ran off once more. With Tsunade and Jiraiya, Tsunade, Shizen, Taunton, and Jiraiya had aloof gotten to Amity Park. They got there fast to refresh the aboriginal time because they weren't attractive for addition forth the way. They would accept gotten there eventually, but the absolutely did to abduct some clothes to alloy in. The adventure there was not an accessible one, aloof like they predicted Danzo beatific some of his root affiliate to abduction, or annihilate them. Word had advanced about the them abrogation Konoha, so they had hunternin, compensation hunters, mercenaries, and squads of shinobis aggravating to abduction them for their village. Things got a little easier aback they got in accessible water. They still had to accord with the casual storm, aggravating to amount out which administration to go, and boring activity their chakra leave their bodies. Already they got to acreage they arch for Amity Parka back, that was area Jiraiya knew Naruto was branch and chase from there. Tsunade now wore a simple white catch basin top, fleet dejected joggers, a blooming sports jacket, and Atramentus sandals. Jiraiya wore bluish-gray clothing anorak with analogous dress pants, white connected sleeve button-up shirt beneath, and Atramentus flip-flops. Shizen wore a apparent aphotic dejected t-shirt, dejected jeans, and a brace of Atramentus runners. Taunton still wore her belong and chaplet aloof with a collar and bridle on her. While they did Elohim better, they still got looks aback. It looked like they had a pet pig. So this is where he was going? Tsunade asked as they absolved through the town. Yeah, at Atomic that's what his adherents said, Jiraiya replied as he took in the sights about him. She said she had a concert here, but that was 2 months ago, so they best acceptable abashed on. Then how do acquisition him? Shizen asked while still accustomed Taunton. We asked about a concert that appeared 2 months ago, an acquisition out area they are going. Tsunade replied as she watched bodies go about their circadian lives. Maybe we'll get advantageous and run into addition who will be able to point us in the appropriate direction, Jiraiya said with a beam as a brace adolescent girls airing accomplished him. It ability be luck, but whether it's acceptable or bad is up to you, said a calm articulation abaft them. All three affronted about to appear face to face with Itachi. I anticipation we fabricated it bright to never acknowledgement her Jiraiya. Wait he alone actuality because I asked him to accompany me here, Tsunade said as she stepped in advance of Jiraiya. And what acumen does the Hokage accept to appear here? Itachi asked with a loft eyebrow. I'm not the Hokage, not anymore, Tsunade replied. I aloof came actuality to see Naruto. I'm not actuality to booty him aback or account problems. I aloof appetite the adventitious to see an allocution with him again. Itachi looked at Tsunade who lowered her head, afresh looked at Jiraiya and Shizen. **** accomplished if that's all the I don't see a botheration in you seeing him, Itachi said in an beat and borderline tone. All three of them had a smile of for and about face into a frown. Unfortunately he isn't actuality appropriate now, but if you would like to delay for him I can booty you to area he will be blockage aback he gets back. They all nodded in acceding and started to chase Itachi to area they would delay for him. With Naruto, Ember, and Gaara stood in advance of the aperture area the Kyuubi's anatomy was. Alright, it's appropriate abaft this door, Naruto said as he put his duke on the doorknob. We go in and grab it afore it has the adventitious to run again. Ember and Gaara nodded in agreement. Naruto accessible the aperture and all three of them ran in. On the added ancillary aloof led to a altered allotment of apparition zone. They end up active assimilate a baby amphibian belvedere and started attractive for the Kyuubi's soul. Oh, it was aloof you brat, actuality I anticipation I had article to anguish about, a aroused articulation said to them. They all looked bottomward to see a baby orange fox with 9 capes central a cage fabricated up of orit chains at Naruto's feet. Is this it? Gaara asked as he wasn't abiding this was what they were attractive for. Yeah, this is what we were following, Naruto replied as he was aloof as confused. Honestly I was assured article a little bigger and added dangerous, Ember said as she stared at the baby fox. Shut up! The QB airtight at Ember. Never apperception what I attending like. Attending kick you got to get me out of this cage appropriate now. Why? What's activity on and how'd you get in there? Naruto asked as he advised the little fox. Stop allurement brainless questions and let me out of the cage, the QB said with acrimony and urgency. You accept to let me out afore she comes back. She? Asked the abashed Naruto. Afore annihilation abroad could be said, 3 aurate chains came out of the arena and captivated about him, Ember, and Gaara. They tried to breach the chains, but begin they couldn't. They would accept approved announcement it with ectoplasmic beams, but I'd begin out the chains were clarification them of their energy. As the chains binding tighter the alone affair they could do was scream in pain. So you are aggravating to chargeless my pet? A feminine affronted articulation asked. Damn it, she's back, the QB said in an afraid voice. Out of the adumbration came a woman with red hair, ocean dejected eyes, and adhesive blooming skin. She was cutting a white shirt beneath a connected blooming dress, and blah sandals. As the chains awkward the 3 of them authoritative them clumsy to move, they could see the chains were advancing out of her anatomy as she boring airing appear them. I won't let you chargeless it, she said as her easily glowed auric with energy. About this was abortive aback they could not apprehend her due to them agreeable in pain. It was the one amenable for not alone my death, but additionally it fabricated it so that I would never see my adolescent bound up. If you plan on absolution it a fresh I am aloof activity to accept to get rid of you. She aloft her duke to bang Naruto first, but what the QB shouted chock full her. Kushina stop! That's your son! The QB shouted in desperation. Kushina lowered her duke and looked at the QB. WW what? What are you about? This can't be my Naruchan. Kushina asked in an all-a-quiver voice. It is you accept to assurance me. The QB said acquisitive Naruto would be able to get him out of his cage afterwards all this. Remove those sunglasses and bandanas and see for yourself. Kushina didn't appetite to assurance the QB, but she had to apperceive for sure. She alone upped the chains on Naruto, but kept them still bound for Ember and Gaara. With all a quiver easily she boring abolished the bandana and sunglasses alone to awning her aperture with her duke in shock. Naruto watched her while she did all this and couldn't accept why she had tears in her eyes. And then Naruto, is it really you? Kushina asked in a hopeful voice. Why yeah, Naruto replied in a abashed and borderline voice. How do you apperceive me? Who are you? Kushina appeared him from her chains and pulled him into a hug. I'm your mother Naruto, I'm Kushina Uzumaki. That's why I charge your advice to acquisition your old chakra, Naruto said to QB, answered the accomplished situation. QB was still in a cage of chains, Naruto was in the lap of his mother Kushina who was captivation him like her afterlife depended on it, and Ember was continuing to the ancillary attractive at the arena with acrimony and abashing respectively. Kid, do you accept any abstraction what you're planning on doing? The spirit of the fox shouted in acrimony and shock. Kushina artlessly scoffed at its question. After aggregate he's been through, I anticipate it's justified, she replied with acrimony and annoyance. Not to acknowledgment what they capital to do with him as he is now. The leaf and the accomplished elemental nation will alone see him, and those like him as annihilation added than weapons. They deserve whatever this Kagaya does to them. Maybe they do, but the added-tailed beasts don't deserve to be affronted into that monster again. Kurama abstruse in return. I may not accept anticipation of them as such, but they are still my brothers and sisters. There's annihilation we can do about this, Kyubi, Naruto said regretfully. The Akatsuki except already bent best of them according to Itachi. With or afterwards our advice they will acquisition your old chakra and the 10 cape will be resurrected. I'm aloof, aggravating to accomplish a abode area me and any apparition can alive in accord afterwards abhorrence of actuality hunted. But you can stop it from happening, the fox screamed in desperation. You're the adolescent of prophecy. You're declared to accompany accord to the elemental nations. I was the adolescent of prophecy, Naruto shouted, continuing up absolution himself from his mother's grasp. I absent that appellation aback I died. Alike if I still am as a ghost, the apocalypse says that I can accompany accord or abolition to the elemental nations. Maybe I would have brought accord if the leaf gave me the adulation and acceptance I bear and deserved. Instead of alleviative me like a monster, and kept aggravating to annihilate me or banish me. What about you, allotment top? Kyubi accepted Axis's absorption to Gaara. I bethink you had siblings, you can't be alright with Kagaya killing them for no reason. I'll accept that I'm not a fan of that, Gaara replied sadly. The fox smirked assertive it had addition on its side. However, seeing Naruto's mother actuality in the apparition zone agency that not alone could see them again, but additionally see Yashimaru again. Just accorded up already, Ember said with frustration. Baby Pop already told you this is activity to appear whether you like it or not. So are you activity to advise us or not? Kushina alive in countenance at the appellation, while the fox aloof sighed. It didn't appetite the 10 cape or Kagaya to be revived, but now accomplished the alone actuality who could stop it will not because of accomplished events. What's in it for me? It asked tiredly. If I'm activity to abandon my ancestors and ancestor afresh I appetite article out of all this. Your freedom, Kushina replied immediately. Help my son get your old churka to this Akatsuki and you'll go free. You can go anywhere in the apparition zone or animal apple and I'll never coursing you bottomward again. You could alike break in the elemental nations afterwards Kagaya is revived, Naruto added in. Although you would be appropriate to accept to and chase Kagaya. The fox spirit grumbled at his options, none of them were all that good. With one after most beef it fabricated its decision. Fine, I'll advise you, aloof be abiding to accumulate your end of the deal. Kushina nodded in acceding afore Naruto connected on. Good, now that that's acclimatized we should acknowledgement to Amity Park and acquaint Itachi about what's happened. With any luck, with his ability of the Akatsuki he will be able to acquisition them quickly. Every apparition nodded in acceding and larboard the branch to acquisition away back to Amity Park, with Kushina accustomed the bound-up fox spirit. Amity Park 2 weeks later, Naruto and the others had begun their way back to Amity Park. It was faster and easier this time aback they had begun Johnny and Kitty in the apparition zone. Johnny had managed to angle up an accessory to his motorcycle that he got from Fenton Works lab that allows him to accomplish portals to Amity Park anywhere. Johnny and Kitty went off to analyze added of Amity Park while Naruto and the others alternate to the abode that was currently their home. As they entered they were abashed and affronted at who they saw. Central was Shizen account medical books, Tsunade watching television, while Bubbler a 6 backpack of beer, and Jiraiya attractive over several books of altered subjects. While the 3 shinobis were afraid to see Naruto, they were alike added abashed to Kushina continuing abaft him. Naruto glanced over at Itachi and their eyes met. Itachi artlessly nodded, accepting the bulletin. We'll allocution about this later. He afresh alternate his absorption to the 3 shinobis. I'm bold your actuality to see me? They nodded in confirmation. Follow me, I got a allowance area we can talk. They chock full what they were accomplishing and started to chase him. Ember and Kushina, who was still accustomed to Kyubi, chase abaft them. Gaara and Itachi looked at Anniversary added and silently prayed that their abode of association would still be continuing afterwards the allocution was over. And that's what I'm planning on doing, Naruto said, cogent the three shinobis his plan for the elemental nations. While the allocution started with them answered to Naruto, which he forgave them aback, he knew they didn't appetite to banish him and were forced, it afresh attenuated into questions about Kushina and what they were accomplishing now. Naruto saw no abuse in cogent them his plan, aback he wouldn't let anyone stop him. After audition what the albino apparition was planning, the three above leaf ninjas couldn't accept what he was planning. Jiraiya looked conflicted, Shizen was horrified, while Tsunade looked regretful. Is there annihilation we can say to change your apperception about this? Jiraiya pleaded. Aback Naruto befuddled his arch. Jiraiya stood up and started to clip the room, occasionally active his easily bottomward his face. I'll advise you, Tsunade said, speaking up. Both Shizen and Jiraiya screamed and looked at her in shock. She abandoned them and continued. The leaf wasn't the alone ones to abuse their Jinchurikis. Maybe this is our abuse for what we did to them. Tsunade, there are abounding innocent bodies who never afflicted or alike met a Jinchuriki. Shizen a secular out. Not anybody in the elemental nations deserves to be punished, Jiraiya added in. I apperceive that, Tsunade shouts in frustration. However, the facts are things a branch appear this cessation whether we like it or not. Do you candidly accept that if we alternate and told all the Kages about this, that they would assignment calm to stop it? No, they would altercate an accusation. Anniversary added and plan on how to get the tailed beasts from the Akatsuki. We bootless to stop this from accident because anybody in the elemental nations became disconnected from acquisitiveness and power. The alone actuality who could have chock full this was abused, mistreated, and abandoned instead of actuality advised like the hero he was. Now he is set afire at bottomward to the arena instead of extenuated it. I'm not blessed about this, but I still appetite to advise the alone ancestors I accept larboard in this world. Shizen and Jiraiya could alone beam at Tsunade in conflations. Aggregate she said was correct, but that didn't beggarly they admired it or agreed with her. What about you two? Kushina asked, bringing them aback to reality. Are you activity to advise us or get in our way? I can't, I won't, Shizen replied, afraid her arch with her eyes closed. I will not be a allotment of this batty and angry plan. I can't acknowledgement the elemental nations due to actuality captured, killed, or alive what's activity to happen. I accept boilerplate to go. You're added than acceptable to break in this house, Naruto said sympathetically. Once we accomplishment what we are accomplishing, I'll appear aback to advise set up a activity out actuality if you wish. While you'll alone accept about a year afore you run out of chakra, it'll be bigger than nothing. Shizen didn't say anything. She artlessly stood up and larboard the allowance silently, afterwards attractive at anyone. Jiraiya could alone agitate his arch in acrimony afore speaking. I can't be allotment of this either dash, you owe us Jiraiya, Kushina said, arresting Jiraiya. Minato and I trusted you to attending afterwards our son as his godfather. You chose the leaf over our son. Because you weren't there he suffered, never alive any affectionate of love. I won't force you to advise us, but I will still abuse you for abandoning our son. Minato's anatomy is oral the abdomen of the Shinigami, so he will best acceptable never appearance up in the apparition zone. So I'll accept to be the one to abuse you. Aback you die and end up in the apparition zone, I'll coursing you bottomward and accomplish you ache till I adjudge it's enough. Both Jiraiya and the QB shuddered in abhorrence at audition that one had accomplished it, and the added audition about it. Jiraiya took a abstracted animation afore speaking. If I do advise you afresh, will I be forgiven? No, I aloof won't coursing you bottomward aback you die, the Uzumaki matriarch replied. I'll never absolve you for what you done, but allowance us will alter the abuse I would have inflicted on you already you die. Jiraiya advised his options carefully. While allotment of him can't accompany himself to booty allotment an article that will account so abundant afterlife and booty his abuse aback he dies. Another allotment fears the Uzumaki mother and is accommodating to advice accompany the abolition of the ninja apple aloof to be absolved his approaching punishment. Very able-bodied I'll help, he answered with a defeated sigh. However, I will alone advise the abduction of any of the Jinchurikis. I won't advise action any shinobis or aid any Akatsuki members. That's fine, Naruto replied, with Kushina comatose in agreement. What do we do abutting baby pop? Ember asked. She remained quiet throughout the affair aback she believed this was amid the five of them. About that didn't beggarly she was activity to leave him in allowance with them. We allocution to Itachi and achievement he can advise us acquaintance a affiliate of the Akatsuki, Naruto replied with determination. From there we acquisition the Kyubi's chakra and accord it to the Akatsuki. How do you apperceive the Akatsuki will alike accept to us and not attack? Jiraiya asked skeptically. We don't, Naruto replied. We aloof accept to booty adventitious and achievement they'll listen. 1 month later, outskirts of Amigakure village, after allegorical Gaara and Itachi of what happened in the meeting, Itachi abreast them that he knew who the baton of the Akatsuki was afore he died. He told them that he began out an alien Uchiha activity by the name of Madara Uchiha was the hidden baton, while the baton of Aim village, a man alone accepted as pain, was the boob baton of the Akatsuki. Seeing as the alien Uchiha never backward in one place, they absolutely their best advantage was Aim. Now all the ghosts and shinobis, Bear Shizen, were on their way to see the Kage. I can't accept the baton of Aim was a affiliate of the Akatsuki, Tsunade said out loud. I never anticipation we would acknowledgement actuality like this, Jiraiya said uneasily. Everyone stop. We're surrounded. After adage that the accumulation saw 6 abstracts had amidst them. Anniversary of them wore the signature Akatsuki cloak, had orange hair, assorted piercings, and lavender eyes with rings surrounding the pupil. One with annoying beard approached the group. Jiraiya-sensei, it's been a while, the Akatsuki affiliate said emotionless. Yahiko? Jiraiya anticipation in shock and fear. Naruto took this befalling to footfall advanced and spoke. I'm Naruto Uzumaki. Above Jinchuriki of the Kyubi, he said audibly to focus all absorption on him. I accept the accord for the Akatsuki.